Coming up on Rosen Sports Sunday, Casey Ralston won a state title in high school as the ace of the staff. A car accident last week left him fighting for his life.
And that there's a lot of higher powers that are guardian angels looking down on him.
Larry Fitzgerald Jr. is back at it, organizing summer practices and reflecting on his life.
I want to make this as hard and as strenuous and time-consuming and grueling as I possibly can.
Jake Maurer is trying to make it to the big leagues, the manager of the Twins Class A Cedar Rapids team.
But if you can see a player, the light go on, as you say, and he gets better, I think that's what makes it all worthwhile.
The Timberwolves have a controversial first-round pick. We sit down with Shabazz Muhammad.
I'm always going to be in the gym, a guy who wants to work.
It is an explosive edition of Rosen Sports Sunday, and it starts now. Hello, I'm Mike Max. Mark has the night off. Well, it is a story about baseball. It is a story about family. Casey Ralston pitched his high school team to a state title last year. 2 years prior to that, he walked 60 miles for his mother, diagnosed with breast cancer. Last week, Casey, just back from college, was a passenger in a car that was hit. He's been in the hospital in critical condition with a new baseball battle ever since. When we introduced you to Casey Ralston last year, it was because he was leading his team to a state high school baseball championship. And it was because of what he had done for his mother, Chris, one of his biggest fans. She had helped raise Casey and watched him grow. When she was diagnosed with breast cancer, Casey took an at-bat, walking 60 miles to raise money for the cause.
You think about your kids and you know they appreciate you. They don't always say it because they're kids, but to actually, give up going to get my driver's license to be with my mom and walk 60 miles in 3 days, it was like incredible.
It was actually probably the toughest physical thing I've ever done. Cramping up after the second day, having to still walk another 20 miles the next day.
Casey accepted a baseball scholarship to Indiana. He redshirted and had decided to transfer. He was playing baseball in a summer league, then it happened. He was the passenger in a car accident last Sunday afternoon, leaving him in critical condition. His family has lived at HCMC the past week, praying for their only son and brother.
We've always been super close, and he's been super supportive of everything that I do, and I've supported everything that he's done, come to a lot of his baseball games, and just been supporting him so much. And it's just tough to go through this with such my only sibling, and just he's the best.
The little boy they watched grow up into a young man has no idea how many people are pulling for him.
As a parent, you see one side of your kid, right? Yeah. And the other side of the kid is what's going on when you're not around.
Yeah.
And the friendship circles that he has built and how he's given his life to other people, that's come pouring at us in ways that we never imagined how Casey's touched people.
They know who he is, the kid who took his team to a state title with a live arm and a quiet demeanor.
I saw a player that was determined all season in the off season and during the season. He has leadership qualities, from the first time I saw him when he walked in our building.
This family understands. The breast cancer taught them many lessons about attitude.
I think Chris taught us then, that there's so many better things ahead if you just look ahead and stay positive. Don't focus on the negatives of the current environment. Just keep looking ahead, keep staying positive, lean on each other. Don't try to internalize everything, Reach out to people, talk to them, embrace them. Great things will happen to you.
And now they are applying it again. Reaching down deep and being reminded of what is.
I've learned to stay strong and know that you have a lot of people caring about you, and that there's a lot of higher powers that are guardian angels looking down on him, working for him.
There is, of course, a baseball metaphor for a baseball family that Casey has already figured out how to battle back, how to pitch his way through it, how to take the mound, and how to find a way to win.
I think baseball's taught him, don't get too high, don't get too low. You're going to get knocked down. So in the illness that he's got right now, it's just a competition, There's going to be a few setbacks, there's a few hurdles. Just don't give up.
Talked to his father tonight. He is making good progress. No brain or spine injury. And no doubt the fact that he was wearing a seatbelt probably saved his life. Well, Larry Fitzgerald Jr. has been a beacon of light in Minnesota, a Pro Bowl receiver with Pro Bowl leadership skills. That's why he doesn't just play football, he's an ambassador for football. Holding his annual summer camp. What does it mean to lead and how did he get there? We sat down to find out. Every summer, Minnesota becomes a mini mecca for football. It is where NFL players hone skills, and up-and-comers dream of being invited into that rare fraternity. The mayor of this gridiron town is Larry Fitzgerald Jr. It's his vision that made it. It's his attitude that keeps him coming back.
I'm always working on something to get better. I'm always trying to improve on my craft and make things more difficult. You know, I never get more tired, and I never get as tired out here when I'm training with Bill in the summertime as I do in the game. You know, in the game, I never get tired. I can run all day. It seems like it's a lot easier. I want to make this as hard and as strenuous and time-consuming and grueling as I possibly can to make when I get out there on the Sunday as easy as possible.
Sit with him and reflect, and you realize this game is very personal. So is what he is to the game. Leadership. What does it mean in Larry Fitzgerald Jr.'s mind to be a great leader?
I mean, I always grew up watching the Vikings, and I remember how, you know, Chris Carter would lead. He was a little bit more demonstrative and, you know, had a lot more to say than I do. I just try to lead by example. I kind of figure out what makes each guy tick, kind of how you can talk to him. Some guys can be yelled at, some guys need to be coddled, some guys need affirmation all the time just to kind of build their confidence. So I kind of how to figure out what guys need, and I try to lead that way.
Do you have to perform at a high level? Do you have to be really good on the field to get anybody to follow if you're going to try to be a leader?
Yes. The only way you gain respect in our business is by doing it on Sundays and working throughout the week. You have to build that credibility throughout the guys in your team, and once you do that, I think guys respect you and listen to you and hear what you have to say.
And Fitzgerald has something to say about how you get to where he is. Translating for kids, it's not about football, it's about being athletic, about kids that will play more than one sport to find out what they excel at.
It kills me to see these kids, you know, 7, 8 years old, playing only baseball, or I live in Arizona, so, I mean, kids play baseball year-round, or they have football year-round. I don't like it at all. You know, I played soccer, I played basketball, I played football, I ran track, I played baseball. I've even played lacrosse when I went to Valley Forge Military Academy in Pennsylvania, so I wanted to do everything, and I think it makes you a better, well-rounded athlete. You work in different muscle groups, and when you get older, your best sport is going to kind of define itself, because the cream is going to rise to the top. But do everything. Meet all the kids in your school. Make different friends in different areas. I mean, just immerse yourself in as many different things as possible, because it's going to make you a more rounded person.
Some of his sense of self comes from the people he's been exposed to, like now Hall of Famer Chris Carter.
Well, the great ones, what I've seen, always bring guys along with them. You know, I remember when Chris Carter, 7, 8-time Pro Bowler, when Randy Moss came in, he invited him down to Florida. I was down there working out with those guys, and Matthew Hatchett and Jake Reed. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to ask those guys. He already was secure. His place in the Vikings Ring of Honor was already done. You know, his place in Canton was pretty much secure at that point. But he knew that if he wanted to be great for a longer period of time, you have to bring guys with you.
And maybe that's why he's here, because he knows where he's been. From Holy Angels High School to all-pro status with a whole lot of help.
I remember Chris Carter, Randy Moss, Dante Culpepper, and Tyrone Carter, and all the guys would come to my games over at Holy Angels on Fridays. Like, you have no idea what that did for my confidence as a young man, to see the guys that you emulate and you idolize on Sundays to come and actually care about you enough to support you. I wanted to do it for them. I wanted to do it for myself. My mom and dad sacrificing, working 2 jobs to put me in a nice high school over at Holy Angels. Like, the sacrifices they made, I wanted to repay them and give them everything I had. So I just had so many people that poured into me, and you know, I had a burning desire to reach my goals, and I'm still not satisfied.
Boy, but what a career he's had. Hey, when we come back, we're going to visit Cedar Rapids, Iowa, on the Twins Class A affiliate, spending some time with a manager named Maurer. Also ahead, is he an asset or a problem? We sit down with the Timberwolves' #1 pick, Shabazz Muhammad. An interesting conversation. Stay with us. welcome back. Well, there is another Maurer trying to make it in the majors, Jake Maurer. Joe's older brother is the manager at Class A Cedar Rapids. His goal is the same, get to the big leagues. But in a manager or coach's uniform for Jake, we paid a visit and found out he's loving this entire process. He watches, he takes it in, he instructs. It is his job. And when you toil in the minor leagues, like the players, you want to move up. You do it by learning while you teach.
This is, my 5th year managing, at least in A-ball here, and you give the players a chance, and they usually will do the job if you give them an opportunity to, and we got to find out what they can and can't do as well.
Maurer grew up in a river town, St. Paul, with his 2 baseball-crazy brothers, Billy and Joe. He's now living in another river town, about 4.5 hours from the big leagues by car. Cedar Rapids is the place where you prove you're worthy to move on. One more rung on the ladder. What have you learned about managing a game?
You try to think ahead a little bit and put yourself in a position to have a player succeed, whether it be a left-handed hitter that's down in the lineup. You have a left-hander in the bullpen, having him prepared, maybe ready to pitch to that guy in a situation, or being able to recognize the guy's a little banged up, a little injured, maybe we'll give him a day off here.
Jake was himself a farmhand in this league, playing with brother Joe in Quad Cities for the Twins Class A team.
This is a fun league. A lot of neat towns, a lot of neat cities. Communities follow, and they really get behind the players.
His job is not just managing a game. In fact, that might be the easy part. Look on the field, and it's a field filled with big league dreams. Confidence can be replaced with insecurity overnight. They are fueled by a drive to the majors and a fear that they may never make it. A manager better understand that psyche.
He's pretty laid-back coach. He loves to win, though. He's a very competitive person. So, we know that we come on, we try to play hard for him, but he's pretty laid-back. He likes to have fun.
Sounds a little like little brother.
Maurer drives it to left center field.
Joe Maurer is different than Jake, but if there is a common denominator, it is the poise. Joe knows baseball, and Joe knows his brother.
I've always known, I've done clinics with him in the past. He's a great teacher of the game, explaining things, why we do things. I always used to say he used to see a play happening before it happens. He's got a great ability that way, of how things work and how to relay that to players. He enjoys it. He's, the baseball equivalent to a gym rat.
Until he was elevated to Fort Myers last week, Jake managed the Twins' highest-rated prospect since Joe, Byron Buxton. The goal, let him develop. Be there for his every need.
He knows when to tell me what I'm doing wrong and just tell me everything, even when I need to talk to him about stuff off the field.
So he's a pretty calm guy, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's really laid back.
This will be their first full year for most of them. So in college or high school, wherever they came from, they're only a year removed from it where they were the guy. They were the big fish in a small pond, and things were probably pretty easy for them. We'll use an example for tonight. A player tonight's going to play again, struck out 4 times last night. So we got to show that I have confidence in him.
Part of the grade as a minor league manager is how you handle the high-profile prospects. But there is more. See, in this league, you want to win, but you better make players better. Sometimes you sacrifice. Are you managing to win, or are you managing to develop? Does it matter a lot if you win, or does it matter a lot if you get the right guys in the right spot?
I think it's more getting the right guys in the right spot. You want to develop first. That's not saying that we're not trying to win the games, because we are. I think you can do both. I think you can develop and win at the same time.
What matters most if you want to take this journey is that you have a passion that overshadows the issues, that thirst to be involved in the game the same way it was when you were in the Little League. It better live in your belly every day.
I just like being around baseball, Mike, to be honest with you. Managing is a lot of fun. You try to think, put guys in different positions, but I like the pregame and preparing guys and talking to guys in the bullpen and some of the smaller things that you see start to show up in the game.
And the catalyst comes from the relationships, the raw talent that comes to you and commits to you, and you in return give it guidance that helps them flourish. That is managing, and that by itself is the ultimate reward.
If you can see a player, the light go on, as you say, and he gets better, I think that's what makes it all worthwhile.
No doubt about it. You can see the resemblance with Joe, but there should be a resemblance. After all, they are twins. The Timberwolves have had an interesting week. The most curious, the selection of Shabazz Muhammad in the first round after their trade with Utah. He comes with ability and some say a little baggage. A checkered past at UCLA, perhaps. We sat down to get some answers.
The Utah Jazz select Shabazz Muhammad.
So the Timberwolves make a deal with Utah. The next thing you know, the number 14 pick, you're selected in the 2013 NBA draft. How did that strike Shabazz Muhammad?
The Minnesota Timberwolves is a great team. First of all, I think it's a really young team with a lot of guys who are really young and up and coming, and they've got a lot of good pieces in the draft from the previous years. And now being a Timberwolf, I'm very thankful of being one. And I'm looking at it with my scoring ability. I think Ricky Rubio can really help me out, be a better player, make me a better player, and listen to him and listen to Kevin Love and all those guys, and just and learn from them.
Who is Ricky Rubio to a shooting guard like yourself?
Ricky Rubio to a shooting guard is great. I mean he passes the ball. I mean, all you gotta do is cut and he's gonna look. I mean, he's a guy who is so unselfish and who's a really good player, and he maximizes his potential.
Character is big here in Minnesota, and to be quite honest with you, Shabazz, people have been burned a few times on first-round picks here. You had some issues in your dad and the birth certificate and all those things. Tell me about what is the character Shabazz Muhammad?
Character Shabazz Muhammad, I try to carry myself as best as I can. I mean, I try to speak as best as I can. I'm always gonna be in the gym, a guy who wants to work, a guy who wants to hang out around my teammates, around Kev, a guy who I know previously, who I'll probably be hanging out with a lot. Ricky Rubio, when I find he's a young guy just like me, so I mean, it's gonna be good just to meet the team and just to be friends with everybody. And I'm a guy who just wants to listen and take advice from everybody.
Flip Saunders said what he liked about you is that you're a gym rat, that you love to work at your craft. Tell me about that.
Oh yeah, I mean, back at UCLA, Coach Allen would kick me out of the gym. I'd have to sneak in. I mean, that's one thing I just try to do. If things aren't going well, just stay in the gym, and you can maximize your potential from doing that.
Kevin Love is from UCLA. You're from UCLA. How well do you know him? What does he tell you?
Oh yeah, I mean, we get to. I've worked out with him several times in Vegas and in LA. I mean, he's a great guy. He always used to give me advice when I was young in high school, and never knew I'd be playing with him. So he's a guy who's really good, and like I said, I can't wait to get back to LA and start working out with him again.
They actually booed when you're announced here. Some people booed when you're announced as the first-round pick. What is it they don't know about you here that they need to know?
They don't know. I think they don't know I'm a hard worker. I mean, I'm a guy who wants to work. So I mean, I'm just gonna come down here and prove that I'm a really good player and that I can work hard.
Do you think in terms of I can play right away, I'm a high-impact player right away? Where do you set that short-term goal?
I mean, I don't want to say I'm gonna start right away. I want to just come in there and just learn from the coaching staff. Like I said, continue to be a gym rat and maximize my potential, and then let the balls fall where they're going to fall at.
Ironically, your last game in college basketball was against the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Oh, I know. That's something. I mean, Minnesota did end our college career, and never knew I would have ended up here.
Going to be interesting. And a landmark comes tumbling down when we come back. Why this has so much to do with sports. Goodbye, Gage. Stay with us. Well, it's been home to a lot of Vikings memories. The place where the players stayed during all those training camps now is simply a pile of rubble. Gage Hall on the campus of Minnesota State Mankato came crashing down on Saturday. The Vikings called home for more than 4 decades during training camp. It's where the players crashed after 2-a-days. The demolition took all of 12 seconds. It held a lot of memories for players and fans alike. Kevin Schul of Plymouth used to live in that dorm and gave us the lowdown, no pun intended.
It was kind of exciting. I mean, when I heard the explosions, the buildings were still, they were still there. You hear all these explosions, you wonder when they're going to come down, and finally it came down, the big heap of smoke, and that was quite a sight. 2 big buildings I stayed in for 2 years. Not there anymore.
Why do we love that video so much? Hey, coming up later this summer during training camp, we'll go back inside Gage Hall for some of the favorite memories of Vikings players and coaches. Up next, Justin Morneau reflects on his own milestone today, passing Puckett. Stay with us. Welcome back. Twins first baseman Justin Morneau hit a pretty special milestone today. His home run in the 7th inning was his 208th of his career, moving him into 5th all-time on the Twins home run list, ahead of Kirby Puckett.
Yeah, anytime you get mentioned in the company of a Hall of Famer, one of the most important players in this organization, it's pretty humbling. It's pretty cool. And
what a day for Justin Morneau, but the Twins fall short 9-8, and look who's coming to town. The New York Yankees. Join me tomorrow night on CCO Radio. It all starts at 6:15. We'll be back here at 5, 6, and 10 tomorrow night with reports on the Twins, Yankees, and much more. Have a good night, everybody.